ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Inshallah wa ta'ala, one of the things we'll cover, it's an ayah from the Quran, Surah Baqarah, one of the last ayahs that most people like to recite. I myself, if I'm giving a khutbah, I usually like to mention these few ayat when I'm making dua right at the end of the khutbah. And this is the case with many of the khatibs in the month of Ramadan, in Jum'ah. Many of us, we hear this dua and many people are just saying Ameen, 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 but not reflecting upon these meanings. So what is this last ayah that is commonly asked by many of the khatibs? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention obviously in the Quran, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. So the first part, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not burden a soul beyond what it is capable of. So every single trial that you have upon your life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has tailored it. In another narration, the Prophet also mentions that in kana fi dinihi sulbah, if his deen is strong, istadda bala'uhu. Wa in kana fi dinihi riqqah, if his deen is weak, yubdala ala hasbi din, he shall be tried, kama qal, based on his level of the religion. And here also in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, he shall not burden a soul beyond what he or she can handle. That's the first part. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَعَلَيْهَا مَا اكْتَسَبَتْ. So the good deeds, what you have earned, you shall have it, and the bad deeds, what you have actually committed, you shall see the consequences of it also. This is another one. رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. That do not take us into account or for the things that we have forgotten or we may have erred. And this is specifically for the Ummah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That sometimes, when we actually eat in the month of Ramadan, it is from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is except for the Maliki school. There's a hadith that talks about this, that you can continue your fasting if you had done in terms of out of nisyan, out of forgetfulness, then you will continue fasting. And these are things that are many things. When you do it out of either forgetfulness or out of error, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not take you into account. And this is the dua that is in the Quran. رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. That do not take us into account if he had erred or forgotten. This is another one. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا إِصْرًا كَمَا حَمَلْتَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا. That do not take us into account also, or do not overburden us like that, how the previous nations had been given responsibilities of. So one of the things, as we mentioned in the beginning itself, and this is a dua that is repeated, that we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to burden us like how the previous nations were tested. So we're only going to be given what we are capable of. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. Do not burden us again what we do not have capability of. مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. And now we're asking for three things. وَاعْفُ عَنَّا وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا وَارْحَمْنَا. وَاعْفُ, sometimes you translate again as forgive, and we're also asking for وَاغْفِرْ. So غَفَرَ is to seek forgiveness. وَاعْفُ, remember, there's a slightly different meaning, is that when you ask for afu, you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to clean it completely from your records, i.e. there's no traces that you had even done these actions. So you're asking for afu, you're asking for forgiveness, and you're asking for mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anta mawlana, and you're declaring that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our master. Fansurna, and to give us victory upon those who disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So brothers, this dua is so deep. Wallahi, we need to reflect upon this, and every single one of us. Another ayah, لَن يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever is going to befall upon us, this is something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for us. And He's only going to give you what you can handle. I'm not talking about the one who passes away. I'm not talking about the one who falls into sickness. Even a sickness is a form of kafara, dissipation for you. So everything for a mu'min, brothers, is good. And from the mercy of the ummah, for this specific ummah is, even if we err or if we forget, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to take us into account. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for mercy, for His afu, and also for His forgiveness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq in this life and the hereafter.